Yeah, so here we go again. The day is, well, what is it? My watch, oh, there we go. It's Wednesday, the 5th of June. Time is 12 past 7 in the PM. I've had a long and fairly fulfilling day. Um, from 10 in the AM till about 12:30 PM. I was at the garage guys. They they changed all the filters on the car. They did an oil change and they changed my rear two tires. I did get to see both the rear two tires from the inside and the outside. The side I thought was not as bad was actually quite bad as well because the structural grid, the woven grid inside it, had failed. So I wouldn't have had long before I'd have a blowout there, which I'm rather happy I didn't. Perhaps because I didn't go on the autobahn with the tires because I knew they were dodgy. Now I am free to do so again. The screw. There we go. Might as well take a thumbnail. This is the screw that screwed me. The one I had in the driver's side tread. Well, it didn't screw me, it saved me, I guess, because otherwise I would have had a blowout on the passenger side. Admittedly, I did not notice. That might have been just because I am not competent enough, or it might have been because at the time it wasn't an issue. But when I checked my tyres 4 weeks ago, I checked them all because one should every now and then. I did not notice the possible breakage of structure on the passenger side rear, so on the drinker's side rear. I did give the guy what I bought him yesterday, what I was informed he very much so like, and he did very much so like it. Considering the overall bill, I'm happy to spend that little extra to be in good standing, I guess. Yeah, it's not cheap. I mean, it's best part of 2/3 of a grand, but it's certainly worth it, and it's probably mostly in here. There we go. Another thumbnail. But the car have been driving way more pleasant, and they did say that with the structural grid in the tire, you should notice that with road noise, and it's probably in here, but it do feel so much more comfy to drive. Just because I don't got to worry, I ain't got a service light on the dash. I do still got the check engine light, and they are not willing to do that themselves. I might take time once I've gotten my degree, because I'll have 2 months, best part of 2 months time, in which I am still a student, and I should still be getting the student grant slash loan, BAföG. I am expecting a letter from them because they have announced I'd get a letter via email, but the email did not contain anything besides "you'll get a letter," and I have not received any money thus far. So I'm thinking they might have some more complaints or might want some more documents, and they'll delay another 8 weeks because German efficiency. That's jobs for people. Then again, it's me not getting money I should be entitled to, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But I'm waiting for that letter. Um, General inspection would be September, so that's about the time I got time to do things on the car myself. And I very well might do that wiring issue, which is causing the check engine light, but beyond that is not significant. I might fix the wiring harness myself in that time, because I know for 95, 98% certain, I don't know, that is the wiring harness, just because I had the sensor checked and nothing arrived at the pooter, though the sensor is good. Because I'd replaced it beforehand, hoping it would just be a €30 sensor. Rip me. I'm hoping that'll work out, though. It'll probably require me having not this car on the road for a few days at least, because I'll have to disassemble the majority of the front end, take off the bumper and so on, just to access the wires. But it will give me a chance to practice wire looming using aircraft and wax lace. Aircraft technique and wax lace. So that's going to be an interesting one. If I remember, I might link the video down below. Odds are I won't, but you can find it if you look up wax lacing on YouTube, and odds are there's not that many wax lacing wiring looms, and there's probably 2 or 3 guides, and one of those is what I intend to follow. Um, in the morning I started once I'd arrived at the workshop, and I have since continued writing, that is, and reading up on academic stuff and so on. I am noting the dates with minute resolution, 5-minute resolution. So I started this morning at 10 with Schlieren imaging, and my last note started at 15 past 6, so pretty much exactly an hour ago, which make it more than an 8-hour working day. Then again, I was not writing continuously. I was spending a lot of time thinking in between, and none of this writing is what I'll actually end up putting in my thesis, because I'll have to type it all up. The mechanical labour of typing it up, I guess. I might try and do some OCR, but odds are that's going to be more work than it's worth, so odds are that's not happening. Then again, once I try, I'll fall for some cost fallacy and I'll try and figure it out proper. One way I can aid that is by upping my writing. To be fair, I believe just today, just the day of help with my writing, this is legible but not too pleasant. Whereas the notes from the afternoon are legible and very much so acceptable in form, for my standards, that is. I have started to figure out what video art is. Though I determined the title quite a while ago, I'm figuring it out and writing down notes and citations on the way. How I can properly say what video art is. It's actually quite a complex, deep subject. Then again, you can make anything a complex, deep subject if you would like to. I have not gone to Poland, crossed the border, which means I spent another tenner on a packet of cigarettes. Not happy to say, but hell, I mean, I am addicted and my hemp is on the way, so it's the temporary solution, and the carton I get in Poland will be the solution for situations in which it is socially inadequate to be smoking hemp. Once I'd done the workshop, I'd driven by my former place of internship. Didn't help out much there, just with some thinking of theirs. Some information I have that made their lives easier, not much though, so some, I guess. But I did continue writing there and reading. I read solid paper and half, which both are very related to my subject. And I found 2 I printed that are not related enough for me to bother reading them. And I, of course, took notes on all that. If I continue at this pace, I did say half jokingly earlier. Yeah, half joking, that's a thing. Tone indicator would be Hotel Juliet. If I continue at this pace, I'll have this notebook full by the time I got my thesis. So that'll be something fun. I mean, it's already labelled appropriately, so yeah. With the colleagues of my former place of internship, so my former internship colleagues, I did go for lunch, and I afforded myself a fancy thing. Is a Saarland/French cuisine food truck operated by a former neighbour of theirs. And he had a burger with some camembert on it, which was actually quite tasty. The only problem is the form factor weren't too manageable. Then again, I did tell them, and they were aware, and they are looking to change, and they have things different usually. So fair enough on that, I guess. So I did like it. Spent a tenner on that. It's totally worth it. Once I was done with my former place of internship for the day, I went to the tea joint. The parking went easy. I took solid 5 minutes to park parallel. Reason was the car in front of me was so far away from the board of the pavement, from the edge stone, that I actually ended up being more than half a car's width further in toward the stone than them. Then again, that means I had a very steep angle and very dodgy parking. So I actually got out thrice for parking and once for unparking, just to see my distances so I didn't ram anything. Ironically enough, the car that had been parked in front of me was gone by the time I left. and a different car parked, and they parked even worse. To the point where I don't know if it's actually legal, because they were more than half a metre from the edge stone away. Well, the first car was 2. This car is more than 2 metres wide. They were more than half this car away from it. So, yeah. I guess parking is something one can't expect from everyone, and it do make my life hard if other people can't park for shit. At the T-joint, I did not have any cake for change. Partially economic reasons, partially because I was being productive writing. Did not do much reading at the T-joint, but I refined my idea of what video art is and how I'll phrase it. That'll work out. Emulsion film is not a part of it, interestingly enough, but anything beside that go. I did use DIN 16511 annotation, though I wasn't proofreading, and it is a proofreading annotation, while writing for citation needed, just because it don't do no harm and is a nice standard. So these symbols mean citation needed, which means I need to actually find a place that say that, which is not the right way of doing things, but these are generally known to be true facts, but I can't presume examiners to know them, so it's not going to be hard to find many citations for them. Might as well give you an example, I guess. The term video was originally used to refer to analog electronic signals commonly stored on magnetic tape. I have citation needed behind that. In my opinion, it should not need citation, but I'd rather be on the safe side and have too many citations rather than too few, because you can always remove citations, but you have a hard time adding them once you've determined something. And that's even less academic, I guess. Funny how that works. The driving is really quite fun. It's very pleasant to drive the car now. It's not that it was unpleasant beforehand, but I had that weight on my shoulders, the thought on the back of my head, the devil on my shoulder, whatever you want to call it. Wow, that was almost lyrical. And I now ain't got that for the moment. Before the next general inspection, which I am most certainly going to do with that guy, I'll need all new brakes, rotors and discs. Discs and pads. There we go. Yeah, discs and pads, or rotors and pads. I believe discs and rotors is synonymous in this case. This morning while at the workshop, I also did manage to schedule a phone call with a old friend, I guess, a friend of my dad's, now a friend of mine, as my dad is no longer. So I'm on the phone with them because I had some mechanical questions, just because, you know, I don't know this garage guy, and I'm second guessing things, and there was something slightly odd. Then again, they are off the matter, I am not, but the car came in losing coolant rapidly, and my suspicion was it was a head gasket or head toward the exhaust manifold. They said, oh no, it's probably a leak. Then again, the only water that was below the car after it was standing running for quite a while was quite the puddle below the exhaust, nothing below the engine bay. Then again, they do have these modern aerodynamic covers underneath. That might have just caught it all. They're more experienced than I am. I have theoretical knowledge, but the difference between theory and practice is greater in practice than it is in theory, so you never know, you know. You never know, you know. Yay, that was a very well placed, you know. Thanks, Alpha Bravo. You know the initials, you know who you are. Well, I don't even got to use the initials, but I prefer keeping things semi-anonymous here. Don't got to call people out, you know. People who know who Alpha Bravo is will also know whom I have this from in the first place. So, meh, you know. I keep doing it. I'm going to have a cigarette. Yesterday I managed to have only 18, though I didn't make a conscientious effort to reduce yesterday, because I am aware I do not have hemp, which means, yeah, okay, I might second guess if I am to have a smoke, and I might just hold in my fingers and play with it for quite a while. That's what she said. Before sucking on it, you know. But I am not currently trying to limit my smoking because I want the hemp substitute to limit my tobacco consumption. Because I am too weak and I do not have the energy to spend on reducing my smoking. There is more severe things, such as a bachelor's thesis, and getting a job after. I have been thinking more and more about the taboo subject in this society for some odd reason of what starting pay I would like to pursue. I mean, I have a company I'm pursuing, my former company of internship, so that's something, and I have an imagination of what kind of pay I'd want. I believe 2.8 brut is fair. Then again, I am not informed on the market, but 2.8 brut is the kind of price where I'd say I'll sign a contract now if you give me 2.8 brut. So for that place, not for other places. Odds are they aren't going to do that because I'm not going to ask them. Which means come mid to end August, I'm going to apply to a whole load of places and ask their estimates for pay, and then give my former place of internship the opportunity to match it should it be higher than 2.8. I believe I'm worth that, especially in a full-time role. Considering 2.1 is minimum wage, 2.8 is not unfair, As I do bring some stuff to the table. I got knowledge, skills. Crazy. I got the self-esteem to say I got knowledge and skills, man. I've continued writing with the Cortex 1 by Studio Neat X Cortex brand. Quite like it as a pen. The only thing is you do want a solid surface below, as with most pens, which is not true for trying to reach. There you go. The Uniball by Mitsubishi Pencil Co. These do not need a solid surface below. This does, but this is pleasant to write with, and it is not disposable. Well, I believe you can get refills. I don't actually know how you insert them. By the time I need one, I'll first up have to look up which cartridge I need, and second off I'll have to look up how to change it. But I'll manage. That's a bridge I'll cross when I get there, As I had lunch, I don't think I'll do much for dinner. Once I get home, I'll either play video games or just consume video or film. Considering I've just defined video as non-narrative things that could not be filmed on emulsion film, so nah. In video, in the context of video art, that is, though. This here, for example, would not qualify for video in video art form, because, surprise, it's just me talking to myself on a phone. Hello there, thank you very much for watching, by the way. And this could have been done, though it would have been more expensive, with emulsion film. There is no mixing, layering, modifying of this of any kind going on, which makes it not video art in my book. Then again, I'm not 100% fixed on that. I'm open to change, but I think I got a pretty good grasp of what video art is at this point. I mean, I've spent day and a half reading on it and half a day writing, so Yesterday night I did manage to fully edit, so cut, do audio, record extra audio, atmosphere, score, colorize the elective film. End up runtime of 5 minutes, and again 40 seconds of that is title sequence and credits. I'm quite happy I managed. I actually got done before midnight, though I am running on a few hours of sleep. I think I only slept like 5 hours. I do have the data, but I'd have to stop the recording to actually look it up, so I'm just going to say I slept about 5 hours, because that about matches with last time I remember being awake. And when I awoke, Oh, one I have to look out with saying awoke, because these days woke is not a thing people like. Apparently, I don't know. I don't know what the kids use terms for. No, I'm just not bothered enough to look it up. So who knows? But I guess that's the problem with terms like awoke in language changing, because it's just a syllable of a, away from something many people consider not pleasant. I wouldn't know. Yeah. This weekend I got a visit coming up. Well, I'm visiting a friend of mine. They inquired a couple of weeks ago, just after I thought of them. So I'm quite happy about that. It's the friend I met at a tram station as I was telling the car in front about their brake lights, and the scooter in between didn't even notice me getting out, so I could have mugged them. I'm looking forward to seeing them. I'm just hoping to have clarity on when that is by tomorrow. Tomorrow, talking to myself, whenever that happens. Not for the sake of talking to myself, but for the sake of organising my life. Because I am a very active member of Film Club, and if it happens to be Sunday afternoon, I'd want to give Film Club minimum 24, preferred 48 hours notice. There we go, that lasted quite a few minutes before I lit it. Odds are tomorrow or the day after, more likely day after, because I still got diesel in the car. And I've got a jerry can theoretically on the books of diesel. So maybe tomorrow, who knows. I'm going to cross the border and get a full tank of diesel. I was going to say gas, but no, not good. I'm looking forward to that, just because it's security and feeling. Knowing I could drive to any coast on the continent, basically. Well, maybe I might have a hard time with some of the Black Sea coast or the Mediterranean coast, or the Spanish or Portuguese Atlantic coast, but beside that I can drive just about any coast. I don't know, might be far from here to the French Atlantic coast. It's just because my map is my mind map, my brain map, is in a different geographic location on the continent, in the country. Just because I have not lived here all my life. I have lived here for 2 and a bit years by now, which means my brain map still needs fine-tuning. I might actually have a hard time reaching some of the Mediterranean from here on a tank of gas. Then again, with 2 reserve jerry cans, odds are I would be able to. That's just some mind comfort that I'd really like to have. Then again, I don't know if it's responsible of me to afford it, because I'll just be driving more once I do, and burning through the diesel quicker. If you've got to put in 20 litres at a time, or 40 euros at a time, it lasts longer because you think twice about driving somewhere. But that's a significant quality of life for me. Just be able to say, oh yeah, I'm going to go there, hop in the car and drive there. Then again, I do not have the money for quality of life improvements like that, or quality of life features. It's not an improvement. It's a status quo, which is dangerous. Earlier, while turning around right here, this is the usual spot, by the way. You might know this reflection, who knows. I actually noticed this hall, like old factory building, next to where I am on the regular, on this side, appears to be completely empty. And that once again sparked the dangerous hope in me of perhaps one day renting it. Not good, because of the things I'll be able to afford, that's probably lower than it should be on the priority list, but even should is not up top. So, you know. One odd thing that I believe might be very high on that priority list, as in after rainy day fund high, would be a fancy summer car, I guess. Wouldn't want to drive it in winter with salty roads, you know, but an Audi Porsche RS2, just because it's the first of the high power estates there is, station wagons for the Americans. And I like the concept of them, and I believe they've reached a point where they'll gain value. Then again, I do not currently got 40 to 60 grand it costs to buy them. And even if I don't got the facility for storing them, because you wouldn't want to park them on the road, and even if I don't got the money or income to sustain them. So, though that might be high on my priority list, it's certainly not the top. That's a rainy day fund. Well, first off, it's covering my current bills, to be fair, but but it certainly is pretty high on my priority list. Like, I can see this happening within a decade. If it does not happen within a decade, odds are we'll never be able to afford one of them cars, because they are a very historic car. I believe 94, 95 is when they were built and sold. Not that many of them, because they were pretty expensive, because surprise, Audi and Porsche collaborating. How often do you see that? Well, it's all VAG cars, so you know. But I can imagine a future in which I might be able to afford a car like that, and in which I may, but it's certainly not responsible unless I already have the facilities to cater for it, such as a garage to be parking it in, and perhaps a lift or access to a lift to do my own work on it, because it can be pretty easy to do your own work on things if you can actually access them. Surprise, with this car, the moment you need anything underneath, I can't do it. Yeah, okay, I could change the wheels, but you've got to be somewhere where you can fit new tyres, and you've got to be able to fit new tyres to take off a wheel, change a tyre and put it back on. I do not got spare wheels, which might be worth considering in future, I don't know. They're going to take hella space. They're dead weight at that point. That is, unless I see a future in which I switch to seasonal tyres, which could be possible, I guess. I drive enough to justify it, so particularly if something like my future place of work, which does not have to be my former place of internship, if they're flexible with people storing their private things there in the cellar also, or out back, I might very well consider it. Funny how that works. Temperature outside is 18.5 degrees centigrade. The weather today is very pleasant. We had a drizzle followed by a shower followed by more drizzle. The atmosphere is quite chill today, though I am sweaty. It's just because I'm sitting here with my back against the seat, I guess. I don't know. Windows mostly shut. Insert Microsoft Windows joke here. But today I really like the weather. There's just the right amount of cloud coverage, so it feels like 80%, and the sun is behind the clouds. It's not dark, it's not cold, it's not hot. There is a slight breeze going on. The only thing is it might be a bit wet, but with weather I rate this like a solid 8.5 out of 9. Which is solid. Or on the previous scale, 7.56 out of 8, I guess. I'm really happy to have spent that money. Not in the sense that I don't like the money. I like the purchasing power money gives. And I ain't got much more where that come from. I'd be able to do that once more and then I'd be broke. But I'm happy I spent the money, because now I can drive, no worries. To the point where after this, before heading home, I might just go on the Autobahn for a little drive on the open section. Back and forth, you know. Drive a couple of exits, turn around, come back, just for the fun of it. Then again, that's irresponsible, because burning diesel, putting wear on the car, and all cost money after all. Then again, I do not have this car as a pure workhorse. It is also my pride and joy. She's my pride and joy. The amount of paper I'm carrying in this cover is pretty amazing. It's crazy how much it fit and still fit the notebook. I got all this. The top one, which is what I'm currently reading, is No Resolution Video Art in and Around the Contemporary by Alex Kitnick, published on artforum.com as a feature. I very much so like that. Odds are I'm gonna cite it. Those are very high. Odds are I'm gonna cite it. Full stop. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm making progress, you know. That being said, I hope you're happy too, and I hope you're making progress with whatever you're aspiring to make progress with. Stay safe. I'll see you around. Cheerio.